evening, everyone. We will begin our Board of Appeals meeting for the City of Holland. Board members are regular citizens of Holland who have volunteered and have been appointed by City Council to consider applications to the Zoning Board of Appeals, Housing Board of Appeals, and Construction Board of Appeals, and for accommodations for persons with disabilities. This board must interpret each application as it relates to city ordinances. This board is not empowered to rezone or to take any action that could be considered rezoning. The agenda, copies should be available somewhere in the back, is in the order that the applications were received by the city. The presence of 4 board members is required for a quorum. It also takes 4 concurring votes to approve applications. If only 4 are present, applicants should be reminded that voting would need to be unanimous. When your application is called, we ask that you come to the microphone and state your name and address for the City of Holland, and we will hear the applicant first, and then there will be a public hearing. After the public hearing is closed, there will be no other opportunity for public comment related to the application. Decisions of the board are final and are effective on the day of such decision. However, applicants may appeal decisions to the circuit court in accordance with state law. If you would like not to stay for our deliberation and decision, you may call the Community and Neighborhood Services Department after 8:30 tomorrow morning to learn the results. Meetings are streamed live online and recorded and available to view on the city's YouTube channel. If our board has no objections with the agenda, will our clerk please read the first item?
Yes, the first application is for 307 West 14th Street, application number 23.09H. This property was declared a dangerous structure on August 31, 2023. No work has been done to complete the repairs as ordered by the hearing officer. To demolish or repair the structure, the property is still a dangerous structure and further action is required.
Could the first applicant approach the podium? Oh.
Yep. We give ours first for dangerous structures in just a second. Because the City of Holland is the applicant on this particular item. So in August 31st, the City of Holland took the property at 307 West 14th Street to the Dangerous Structures Hearing Officer. We presented photographs, which I will share with the group tonight. The Dangerous Structures Hearing Officer, based on testimony given by the city, did determine that the property at 307 West 14th Street is a dangerous structure, and the hearing officer ordered demolition within 15 days of that meeting. The house has not been demolished, so we're here today in front of the Board of Appeals as the second step required under the housing law of Michigan. The Board of Appeals, after hearing testimony from the city and testimony from any other interested parties or neighbors, may approve, disapprove, or modify the order given by the Dangerous Structures Hearing Officer. If the Board of Appeals approves or modifies the order, they're obligated by law to grant the property owner an additional 60 days to comply with the Dangerous Structures Hearing Officer's order. So I'll go through a couple of pictures here. This is the house in question. The City of Holland did a rental property inspection in July of 2021 where many items were noted, including exterior peeling paint, repairs to the foundation, work on the chimney, deteriorated trim, deteriorated roof, window frames, and a variety of other miscellaneous repairs. It was also brought to our attention that there's structural failure with the house. This wall that you can see here is beginning to bow out. We had a residential building contractor take a look at the structure, and they determined that the collar ties on the roof are deteriorated, and the walls are definitely coming detached from the roof, and there's structural failure on 2 sides of the house. Here's a closer view of that section of the wall. Here's some of the deteriorated roofing conditions above the front porch. Deteriorated roof on the upper story. West side, peeling paint. This is in the back entryway. There are deteriorated stairs on the back, And there's water infiltration in the back porch area, so the subfloor underneath of that carpet by the door is saturated. This is the rear roof on the back of the house. This is the ceiling directly above that entry door at the back of the house. This is the inside of that back door from the previous picture, and this is where the water is coming into the back porch above the electrical service panel. There's some other defects. This is also in the back porch underneath of the window. The frame and sill is deteriorated, and there's failure in the wall here. These are some of the deteriorated window frames and sills that are deteriorated inside of the window frame. That's all. So at this time, the City of Holland is requesting that the Board of Appeals uphold the order from the Dangerous Structures Hearing Officer and allow the property owner an additional 60 days to completely repair or demolish the house. And the homeowner is here today.
Okay, so just from a procedural standpoint, since the city is the applicant, is this the public hearing that the owner will
Yes.
speak?
Yes.
Okay.
But the public hearing is opened usually before any presentations are given. Did we open the public hearing after Mallory read the agenda item?
I thought we usually open that after the applicant presents.
Derek?
That's how it's gone every time I've been here.
Okay, awesome. So you
Okay.
could probably proceed to open the public hearing.
All right, fantastic. At this time, we'll open the public hearing for comment or concern specific to this application.
Chance to go?
Yep. When you do approach the podium, please state your name and address.
Robert George Guerrero with
Your address.
100 North 168th Avenue in Holland, 49424. Now, I do have an offer. I have an offer from, I guess, Grand Rapids, and I've got the offer here. I made some copies. And I also have another person, and I'll mention the name. Can I mention a name? Amy Dreyer, real estate agent that wants to buy 2 of my houses. I called for the demolition of the home. I've got that name already in process until the offer goes through, okay? Now, one remark that Christy made about the porch, and she knows it because I told her. I had a repair that I paid $2,200 or $2,400, and he's in your list. His name is Lynn Wilt. And my heart went to choose them. Either I didn't want to choose a friend or a relative. I work with them at Coldwell Banker. I've been in real estate 50 years, 51. And I hired him during the COVID situation. I bet you he's not getting many jobs because of the problem. So I called him, hey, Len, you want to do a job for me? Yeah. So he did a job for me. The first sign of it not being very dependable, when I got able to go to the house to check the porch, hey, new roof, you know, and what do I know? But a trailer full of tree limbs that he was supposed to do the yard for me too. Not until I went to pick up the rent the following month that I asked her about where do those limbs come from. Oh, no, he drove in with a trailer full, as you see it. And I called them and said, I want that porch redone. And I've been sick since 2019, kidney transplant and the whole works, no excuse. But I was not able to do anything. Back and forth to the hospital 8 times, Grand Rapids and Holland. And just not enough energy to talk to people and go meet them, and that was my fault. Yes, I agree. But I would have done everything that was supposed to be done. And one thing that I'm going to say to Christy went in the house, sent an inspector there, contractor, without my permission and without the permission of the tenant. I asked her. She says, no, I didn't know. They came in and said they were from the city, so I let them in. So that, to me, I don't feel comfortable in somebody that's looking out for you and me is, I'll stop. So, yeah, and I'm hoping, I'm not saying I'm in real estate, like I said. So tomorrow, maybe he broke his leg, So I'm going to meet with him Friday again, at the house again. So, and he knows the situation. The first offer that came in is a friend of these 2 guys that are buying it. And I got the offer here. And I made a copy if you needed it. As far as that leaning on that property, as soon as I get better, then I can drive a little more than I usually do. I will go around the neighborhood and show and take pictures of how many old homes have a little bit of lean on it. Bring them to you and say, okay, is Christy going to be demolishing this? So that's what got me. And then the inspection that the contractor that went in, I didn't know. And the second one from that first offer that was sent there got there with 3 guys. The guy barely said hi to me. I don't know where he came from. When we met at the door, I was going to stay in the car because I didn't want to walk. And he said to me, no, he didn't say anything. The 3 other guys, they came to the door of my car right away. And they knew my condition. They helped me out, and we went. When we met at the door, a question was asked by the 4. What are we here for? I told them, an inspection. I didn't tell them. And they went in, and that either through Justin off, or when he came to the office here in town, or called, there was a change of mind. And he didn't answer me, and what I wanted to know, how could he get the same results he was telling me if that guy didn't know what he was there for? I walked with him, not even a step ladder to go on the roof, no log sheet, no, well, he must have had a measuring tape. But the other 3 guys said to me the same thing. What are we here for? So I'm confused at what is happening. After telling the city that, I was just out of about scam, 6 to close to 8,000, but I'm disregarding 2,000 of it because some of it was done. Why? Because I didn't meet him. That's my response for the 307 West 13.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's it.
Yes, I believe so.
Thank you.
Quick question, since it is public. There's no questions from the board to him, or
You-
can we in this instance?
Absolutely.
Okay,
You can ask me questions, you can ask the property owner questions.
okay. Does anybody have any questions? Are we able to get a copy of the current contract on the
Yes.
house, please?
As of today.
Over
I'll take it.
Which one, I'm sorry?
the current contract on the house to purchase?
The offer?
Yeah.
Make sure it's a copy. It says the.
I guess my question is, okay, so we have an offer. What's being held up at this point to
I
accept?
just got it last week, back and forth.
That's okay.
Is the offer to purchase the property, or is the offer to make repairs, or is the offer to, is it a quote for demolition?
So this is an agreement for purchase and sale of real estate.
Okay, so
And it is.
the dangerous structure that we're hearing about and discussing, and making a motion on potentially tonight is it's going to be the structure itself. So whether or not it changes hands, when we if we went to approve the decision made by the dangerous structures hearing officer, it's going to follow that 60-day period no matter who owns it. There's not okay, well, it's in the midst of being purchased. Now we give them an extra week, we give them 2 weeks. It's, all right, this structure, whoever owns it within 60 days has got to make the repairs.
That's correct.
Okay.
We will reach out to the new owner and make sure that they're aware of what's happening. And if there's an application for a demolition permit by the current owner, we'll give them some additional time
Okay.
to do what is necessary on their end and give them an opportunity to make it right.
All right. Thank you.
But in the meantime, isn't the structure dangerous to live in?
That's correct.
So what do you do? So this might, home purchases take a little while. What do you do in the meantime? What is to be done in with the people living there?
They're responsible to move out, and they've been made aware that it is not
Okay.
safe to live there and that they need to move out. They have several churches that are helping them find alternate housing. And Esther from our Human Relations Department is also working with the family to
Okay.
find housing.
So they're taken care of. But the house, this demolition request or declaration continues, and that should have a response from either the current owner or but we don't wait for the money to
No.
pass hands. We continue with our,
Legal ownership is up to them.
Yeah.
We're concerned with making the property safe.
okay, then we'll just continue with what we're doing, yep.
Yep, so we're
Thank you.
dealing with the building. So
Correct.
regardless of who owns the building, that building's condition is not changed by who owns the deed.
That's correct.
So we have to deal with the structure.
So,
I got one more thing to add. One more?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Christie.
yeah.
To the-
been talking.
Tricia,
Can you come to the podium?
Oh, I gotta talk that, oh,
Don't talk up here. Oh, speaker.
no. 2 months ago, when I approached the lady for the rent, and she said she was not paying, she was told she didn't have to pay. And I went last month again and asked her that I told you last month that you have to vacate. Well, that whoever it was that told me that until you can find a place, you can move out. I says, no, if we get an offer, you have to move right away. And last month, she was under the impression that until the a seller or a buyer came in, then she would get 30 days. I don't know how she got that. Maybe she didn't understand very good the remark that was made. So that was what she told me.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you. And outside of the offer that
What's that?
mayor, that really doesn't play any impact on this, there's no plans that you have to do anything with the house
No.
to make any
As
repairs?
is. I'm giving it away. It,
Did you talk to someone about destroying the house?
That's what I was gonna tell you.
Yep.
Yes. I got a call and an email that from, what's her name? Amy,
Amy Aldering.
the.
Amy Aldering.
Yeah, and that there's a gentleman that will be contacting me to make an appointment to go look at the, but can you call me, she said, if that offer is not accepted, shall I just have him come and do it? If they, I'll pay a fee, you know, if he wants to come.
So you have no written plan to take care of the property to
Well,
make
that-
it
that's
compliant?
Demolishing.
Just
That
your
demolition,
plan,
I
and
can't-
you have, but you have no solid plan for that at this point?
Is there have you got a quote from a contractor?
No,
per se,
this
for
is the
de-
first
demolition?
guy that's gonna call me.
Okay.
And I didn't look for him, I looked under demolition contractor, and then Angie, I think it's Angie, emailed me back, the one that's, handles all the contractors and all that.
Okay, so you are looking into demolition as well
I'm
as
looking for him to
selling
call
the
me.
property itself?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm gonna ask him if he could do it, I'll pay him if that offer goes through, you know? But I'll pay him for the trip. And then I'll let Christie know,
Okay,
Tricia.
okay?
thank you.
Christy works in our office also. George has dealt with Christy on the rental inspections for the property.
Yeah, okay, I apologize.
No problem.
My son.
Thank you for coming.
Any other questions for the
Yeah,
property owner?
I have a question. So, let's say it's, so the demolition person's been contacted and they're set up a contract and a date for demolishing, because that's what must be done, or repair. So then the person buys the house. Can they stop that and say, I don't want it demolished, I want to renovate it, I want to bring it up to code, spend $80,000 and bring it up to code? Can they stop that demolition process?
It all depends on what this board decides tonight.
Okay.
So maybe, but it depends, it depends on who hired the demolition contractor, who's authorized to hire them. If the current owner hires somebody and then they sell the property, they probably no longer have the authority to hire somebody to do work on that property.
Okay.
So there's a variety of
Variety,
scenarios
I
that
see.
could play
Okay.
out depending on a variety of factors.
Okay, thank you.
So as I understand it, if the order is approved or modified, the repairs or the demolition has to be completed within 60 days. And at the 60-day mark, there's not a city staffer with a big wrecking ball going to come through. That just begins the next stage of, okay, well, if it has not been repaired or demolished by that 60 days, if we approve or modify this order, then the city begins to go out, find quotes, and get contractors and get that work started
That is
from the city's
exactly
end.
correct,
Yep.
yes.
Okay.
There's still a lot of gaps, or still a lot of time in there
Yeah.
between. Yeah.
Not according to purchase
Any other
price.
questions for the owner of the property? Okay, we are still technically in the public hearing. Is there anyone else here to speak in regards to this application? Okay, seeing that there's nobody, at this time, we will close the public hearing and the board will now deliberate.
I'm ready to make a motion, if there is no deliberation.
Okay.
Okay. I move that we uphold the original order of the dangerous structures hearing officer regarding the repair of the dangerous structure at 307 West 14th Street, and thereby give the owner 60 days to comply.
I would second that.
Okay, we have a motion and support.
You need any additional backup? Or are you good with that motion?
You may just want to indicate that you believe. You may want to indicate that you've not heard evidence that the repairs have been made
Okay.
as necessary.
All right, none of the repairs have been completed, and the house has not been demolished. No permit applications have been filed, and the same conditions, as the inspector found, still persist.
Okay, I think we're ready to call for a vote.
All right. The motion is to uphold Van Antwerp,
Yes.
Barr,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Sorick,
Yes.
Fuzak.
Yes.
Motion to uphold passes.
Thank you. Can Mel? Are we good? Mallory, can you please read our next item?
Yes, the next application is for 1325 Stansbury Court, application number 23.10Z. Porfirio Colin Garcia is requesting a variance to expand the driveway at his home. He would like to add concrete on the northwest side of his existing driveway where the ordinance does not allow paving between the house and the road. The Zoning Board of Appeals may approve this request if certain conditions are found to exist.
Okay, could the applicant please approach the podium, state your name and address?
My name is Porfirio Colin. I live in 1325 Stansbury Court, Holland, Michigan, 49423.
Thank you. Can you please explain your application?
Yes, I extended the concrete my driveway and the opposite sides. Usually all the houses have the driveway next to the garage, but my house don't have enough room because my property is too small in the front, and I have the electric bags and the pump water, so I have no room to put extend my driveway to the next to the garage. So I move to the other side because I have my cars, 3 cars, and I have not enough room to put all my cars in the original driveway. And even though the driveway is not straight, I have to make a funny curve, and it's dangerous. And a couple times I stop in the water pump because aren't right in my way that you can see in the pictures. So that's why I have to add the concrete or the driveway to the next side because I don't have enough room to. I'm very close to the neighbors, so, and I see all the houses around my neighborhood, and all the houses have a lot of room to extend the driveway next to the garage. But my house is in a little curve, and I have not enough room, and they put a lot of things in front of my yard, like 2 electric boxes, 1 on each side, and the water pump. So that's what I extend the driveway to the other side. And that's it.
Okay, any questions from the board?
Yeah, I have a question. Did you apply for a building permit before you did this work?
I apply for the. If you see the pictures, I apply for the to put a driveway next to my garage, but I have not enough room to put a car, and I have the permit to the next side. But when I'm start to doing the driveway, I see it's not enough room, and I extended a little bit more. For that little bit more, I'm not how to say, no apply. So I thought it's gonna be the same with the same
building
the
permit.
same
the
yeah,
building
but
permit.
it's not.
Yeah, even though it's very extensive on the other side where you built the new part, it's quite a lot more work than what you had been approved to do.
Yeah, it's a lot more, but if I extend only that a little bit, that a little thing, it's not make any difference, because I have not enough room.
Yeah, I understand your problem, but if you had applied for a building permit for the new part that you did, then you could have spoken to the staff about what the rules were and learned how much you could do and how much you couldn't do before you did that. So I think that's part of the problem that you're facing, is that you went ahead and built this without a permit for it. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, okay.
I have a question. When did you purchase the property?
5 years ago.
5 years ago? Okay, and when was this concrete work executed? When did you finish the project?
This summer.
This summer?
Because I start this only this year, because I have only 2 cars. But my oldest daughter, she started driving, and we need 1 more car.
Okay.
That's why we need more room, because I try to park in the grass, and they give me a ticket too.
Okay.
So that's why I use the concrete.
Okay.
So my point here is, if you guys say I can take it out and apply to put a concrete, I can do that, but it's gonna be in the same, because I don't have another room to put a driveway.
Right, so the issue that we have with the work that you've done so far is that, at least on the side that you extended the most substantially, that is in front of the house. So
Yes.
rather than it being in front of the garage, which this picture shows, there's room on the left and right of the driveway close to that garage for you to use. But then when you draw a line, like perpendicular from the road to, let's say, the corner of your garage, you've gone way past that. So the ordinance that we're having to deal with is that you put a bunch of concrete in front of what is classified as your house, instead of just
Because
being
I
in front
don't
of the
have
garage.
okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because I don't have enough room to do to the next side. I have to take care of the electric bags.
So you have a garage that you said in the application or the appeal, sorry, that the garage really only has space for a single car. Was that how the house was presented to you years ago when you bought the house? Did they say this is a 2-car garage,
Yeah,
but
it's
it's
2
really
cars.
not?
It's 2 cars,
Mhm.
but it's my truck and my wife.
Mhm.
But now I need for my daughter.
Okay, but can you fit 2 cars into that garage?
We can, but I have a more stuff, so we put only 1 car in the garage,
Mhm.
because I have 1 puppy. For the winter, we put a puppy in the garage with a heater, and so the half of the garage is my puppy's house,
Yeah, that's nice.
and the other is for my wife's cars, and I have to stay outside with my daughter.
So on the picture we're looking at with the red X, which is what is in front of the house and is not supposed to be there, and then there's, is he seeing this?
Yeah, you can
look
right here.
Yeah, I can see if you're in.
Oh, okay.
There's something there, yeah.
And then there's the straight red line coming down off the edge of the garage. And the blue circle right next to that shows some concrete that appears to be new, but is okay, because it's in front of the garage.
Yep.
And then there's some concrete, I think, past the garage on your property there to the far right, which is also fine. Anything,
I'm sorry.
No, anything in blue is good.
It's
So what
fine.
I'm asking
Yep.
it, or trying to get at is, by this red line and the blue circle on the left of your garage, instead of that entire concrete pad where the red X is there a lesser amount that would still allow you to maybe get your truck in there and still have room for the other vehicles in your driveway? Because you talked about in your application being too narrow.
Yeah.
If we widen it a little bit right there, does that help instead of having the entire pad?
Yes, I sent video to Trisha when all my cars are parking over there, and when I try to go back, I record the video with, I'm not using the X concrete, and when I try to get out in the back, it's hard for me and for my daughter, and sometimes my car is too close to the electric bags, and they have a sensors, don't let me go back. So I have to go back a couple times.
Okay. But you're still
And-
able to get out. It's just really annoying. That sound of things, yeah.
It's a no, yes.
Yeah.
But if I put my two cars outside, it's hard. It's tight to get in and out because it's not straight. I have to make this and that. And when we have to go out, we have to do like this and like that. And in the summer and the winter time, we have to put a lot of snow around there, and it's really hard. And it's all I can say. It's really hard. That's what I put there. If you say I can take it out the concrete, I can take it out, but I need that space to park in my car. And if I have a grass, they give me a ticket maybe one more time, or I don't know. So I need that space because I don't have a more space on the side.
You've been here a few years now, so you know that we get a lot of snow dumped on us in the winter. I've rather enjoyed that change in my lifestyle, having come from out of town. I'm not used to all the snow in the winter. It's kind of fun.
I know.
In the wintertime, where does the snow in a cul-de-sac end up? Is it just piled all around? Is there any place to park a car?
They put all the snow in the middle of the circle. So it's another thing. When we have a lot of snow, they put everything in the middle, and I have not enough room. Because when I go back,
You wouldn't be able to park and have somebody be able to safely go around
Yeah.
you and make it kind of like a roundabout almost. Interesting.
And you can see my neighbors. She's my daughter. You can see my neighbors how the space they have, and if you see my neighborhood, almost all the houses, even in the other circle, the houses have a more room. But for me, you can see how it's my property. I have not enough room for any size.
I have to say that electrical box is in a super bad place.
It's
And
really
I have
annoying,
two
yeah.
electrical boxes in front of my property.
Well, I think we still need to come back to what Brad was trying to get at. The concrete pad in front of the house is something that the city does not like for the aesthetic reasons of it. And
Not
that's
just
why
they-
there's ordinances for
It's
that.
not just that they don't like it, it's that they have an ordinance
Ordinance
against.
for it. And that's why the ordinance was written. So the question comes, and I'm just gonna throw out a figure, let's say that's 12 feet there. Would 3 feet be sufficient for you to be able to make some adjustments?
Could you
I think-
potentially put a car in the garage and then two on the driveway? Just kind of squeeze, but would that be possible? Have you tried? Is it just convenience that you needed to expand?
It's convenience because I try to always keep the funky reverse.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's what is convenience.
Yeah.
Because we try to skip that one because it's hard. I already tell you, 2 times I hit to the water.
Mm-hmm.
You want to say something? She can help me. Because she, okay.
Is there like a way that you can like make it like the X just smaller so that like you can still park 2
Yeah, just less, less wide,
No,
yeah.
no, cause my trucks are, I use for my job, and they're big trucks. So I have a cargo van, so they cannot even go to the garage, cause it's too high, and it's a little, ¿cómo se dice? Wide. So I see right now it's tight. So if I extend like this, probably one of the wheels is gonna be in the garage.
You can't really put your truck in the van in the garage, like you can, but there's like almost no room to get in, like from either side, like when you try to get in.
Yeah. So,
I think these are common struggles that residents have all over the city, especially even in our downtown area where there's even, I mean, single lane driveways and multiple children with drivers and vehicles, and it's a common occurrence to have to play, shall we say, musical vehicles where somebody's got to leave early in the morning and everybody's got to move a car to get somebody else's
Yeah.
car out, and it's a
I do
common
that for
occurrence.
5 years.
Right, and it's annoying. You know, we all have to deal with that, unfortunately. I'm not sure if there is a good solution here. I think as you can tell, we're all trying to work some sort of compromise, with the unusual circumstances with that electrical box and the hydrant being there. But any approvals or variances would run with this property, whether, you know, we look at these things for the long term, for the forevermore. With all due respect, you're probably not gonna own that for the next 50 years. Hopefully, maybe your family, that'd be great. We'd love for you to own it, but not typical that a family owns the same property forever. And the city does look at it for, you know, in perpetuity forever, these kind of adjustments to the zoning laws. So the next person who lives there might not have the large vehicles. And we do want to maintain our zoning laws for those reasons that we have the zoning laws. So, again, we're trying to come up with some compromise.
Okay, but
We are looking for some compromises here and with some proofs.
The frustration that we run into,
I
we have
understand
to, we have to
that
deal
point.
with is that just because someone comes in and buys a house, let's say, you know, theoretically, my neighbors sell their house and the new folks come in and then they pave over all their grass because they have two daughters who have two cars, and that one driveway that's next to my house isn't big enough. Well, then that is what we have to deal with. The ordinances is not about what's nicest to use for any particular owner. It has to continue no matter who the owner is, no matter what use they want for that property. They do have to operate within those constraints, those confines that we call ordinances, and that's the annoying thing, is that we totally understand how frustrating it is to not have enough space to have a kid out in the world and driving, but
I hope the next family is a big family because it's a big house. So probably they have more than one car, maybe more than 2 or 3.
Right.
But if this is the case, they have the same problem. So you have to give me something like forever. If you say, "Oh, take care of your concrete," it's okay. I take care of, but I need parking one car. Where can I park the car? In the street, or in my neighbor's yard?
So that's the issue that we run into, is that we can't make those decisions for you, but we just have to tell you these are the rules in which you have to operate, and that's just how it is for everybody in the city. So that's the frustrating bit. I know I've had to deal with ordinances myself on my own property.
If you guys,
and
they
it's annoying,
say
but
take care of your concrete. How can I do parking in the grass and they don't give me a ticket again or whatever. Or just I need to find a place where park my 3 cars. I don't care if it's concrete or I have to put grass again, but I need a space.
That's for your family to figure out how to operate within
But I don't
the
have.
rules that we all have to.
I don't
to
have
follow.
enough room because when they design all the houses, they don't think in that. They give me a little space in the front and huge space in the back.
So I think that the builders, the architects that designed the house, what they were constrained to by the city was that we require in a low-density residential zone that there has to be at least 1 car parking space. The city tells everybody you have to have 1 car parking space if you're in LDR zone. So the builders effectively went above and beyond on their end. If they are having a 2-car garage and enough space for another car, they probably came to the city and said, we don't just have a space for 1. We theoretically have space for 3 vehicles here. So we're
Probably
going above
nobody
and
have
beyond.
only 1 car. 1 big family, like we are 6 in my family, and we are in a big family. Probably 1 car, it's probably not a lot.
No,
And yet they-
and I also understand your pain. I have a single lane driveway and 4 drivers. I have 4 cars, and I shuffle them 3 times a day. It's a pain in the
With a
butt.
funky
No.
or all straight.
It's all
ver-
straight.
I live in 16th Street for 4 years, and we share the driveway with my neighbors,
Mhm.
and we parking like that. We have to know you go first, because all depends what time we start to work. I do that for 4 years, and
Yeah.
I know how that works. But we don't have this funky
Yes,
curve.
it is.
We
it's
have
an-
nothing on our way when we're going back.
Yeah, it's an interesting driveway for sure, and we're trying to figure out a way to give you a little bit, but still stick within the ordinance as best we can. So we're wondering if there's a smaller variance instead of all of the concrete pad. So that's what we're trying to figure out. We're trying to do our best to help you here. Any other questions from the board?
You know, you just wish you could talk to the designer and say, don't put
I-
electrical
I know.
boxes right there on the corner. That's just, along with a fire hydrant, so that's the problem.
I'm
Or
looking,
I just got one idea.
Okay.
I don't know if we can, or you guys can do, or we can do or not. You guys say, what about the next family? You know, maybe they have only 2 cars and they fine with that. What about when I sell the house, we make a contract to take care of the concrete and put a grass?
The
I don't- I
variance
don't-
runs
Does not
with
help.
the land, not with the owners.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we couldn't
Yep.
do that.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yep.
At this time, we'll open the public hearing for comment or concern specific to this application. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in regards to this application? Okay. At this time, we will close the public hearing. The board will now deliberate. Or are we ready for a motion?
I'm struggling with the first question about the unique circumstances or physical conditions with the property. Because on the one hand, I do see, like, it's a little bit of a weird driveway to see it like that. At the same time, though, unique circumstances or physical conditions, when compared to the LDR requirements, almost makes this seem like it's not that unique in terms of you can fit 1 car as required by the LDR, and in fact, you could fit 2, which he had been fitting 2 cars at his property for multiple years before a 3rd car has come into the family, right? So in that way, I feel like the physical conditions of the property, there's quirks to it, but it's still within an allowed and permitted use for the owner based on where they are zoned. They are LDR, they are entitled to a single parking space, and they have
I would agree. It's
more.
technically a 2-stall garage. That would be 2 parking spaces, and then you have the driveway additionally.
and the choice the choice is up to the owner, how they wish to use the garage, if they wanna use it for parking, or they wanna use it for, a pen, or additional living space, or whatever they wanna use it for, but, you know, it's a garage for,
My only question to each of you perhaps, and perhaps even our folks of the city is, based on, I'm gonna say the uniqueness of this property with the angled driveway, with the turn in it, and the utilities, is there a smaller variance that could help or assist in this? Instead of the entire pad?
See, I'm not sure about variance coming into the equation, because we had talked about there is still room. Oh, thank you, Tricia. There is still room with that picture there where some of that concrete is fine.
Yeah.
It's,
Correct.
you know, it wasn't there before, but some of that he's added is totally fine. Giving him more space to be able to maneuver vehicles on the driveway. It's just
And Dan Tiley was wondering too, if there was maybe an interpretation that the board wanted to look at as it relates to paving from the corner of the garage, kind of where this first red line is, where it still wouldn't allow him all of what is there, but might allow enough additional width
Just to get two
to
cars
gain
Okay.
him a little
side
bit
by
more.
side?
okay.
So that might be another talking point for the board if they wanted to make an interpretation
So what is the?
on paving in the front yard, that it could be in this, particularly in this instance, from the corner of the garage.
I guess I gotta read the
Could we say
zoning.
something from like the corner of the garage to a straight line to the edge of the sidewalk?
Where the driveway meets the sidewalk?
Yep. Yeah.
Is it clear in the ordinance that it's gotta be perpendicular?
No, but there's, where it says there's an exception, it says a driveway to a vehicle entrance of a garage and expanded driveway width or a turnaround when set back a minimum of 25 feet from the property line.
That's for like a circle drive or a turnaround or a back in.
But still, that interpretation goes into the 25 feet. I mean, the rule would prevent that. The ordinance would prevent that.
Unless the board felt that in this particular situation, that the vehicle entrance to the garage was from the corner of the garage down to the street. This one is a little tricky because it does kick out here and go in, where if they literally took it from the corner down this way, there would not have been enough width because of the utilities that are there.
I
Sure.
totally agree.
But trying to get some relief.
I think that
I think
would
that-
work.
That would allow for two cars side by side, I believe.
And that's within the ordinance, you believe?
Which wouldn't require a variance. What we're talking about,
Yeah.
taking that little bit straight ahead from the corner of the garage. Not even down to where you're indicating now, but just kind of in that blue circle from the picture before, where it is extending that space a little bit.
Right, so I think what he's saying is only in the blue circle, if he can only pave in the blue circle, that's not quite enough.
Right.
So what we're saying is maybe because of the funky angle of the driveway, I do still think it might need to be a variance because
I mean, that would need to be a variance, right?
the house is sitting at an angle and the street is curved, and this one is difficult
It's
to,
impossible.
But in the motion for a variance, we could make it clear that the variance is restrictive to, from point A to point B,
correct.
and there are certain things that would not be allowed outside said variance.
Correct.
Okay.
Where is the 25 feet from the property line, do you think?
So what that's really intended for, Fred, is if he wanted to put, if he wanted to pave this area right here, let's say, so that he could pull in here and then back out this way, the edge of the concrete here to the property line would need to be 25 feet.
Yes, I understand that.
And I don't know, but I can try to figure it out.
It's probably a 30-foot setback.
Yeah, the house is probably at a 30-foot setback.
So I think what I think what the ordinance is saying, and it's difficult to even talk about it because it's so awkward, but as soon as, so there shouldn't be any concrete in the front of the house. That's clear from the ordinance. If you're going to have concrete in front of the garage, that's okay too, but if you're gonna try to expand that concrete, as soon as it crosses the 25 feet from the property line, then it becomes illegal, according to the ordinance. That's how I understand this. Is
It's
that right?
actually I think the opposite. I think once the house sits back far enough,
Once it sits
a lot
back
of
far
like if the house is on South Shore Drive, for example.
Yeah.
This is kind of where we use as examples.
Yeah.
Sit 50, 80, 100
Right.
feet back. Once you get past that 25, then the impact of parking in front of the structure is less.
it's lessened, right?
That's right. So in the case of what we're talking about potentially where you see that the curb cut, normally when people have a curb cut and it stops at the sidewalk and then starts again on the other side of the sidewalk, that's that point that she showed. Normally people can take off and go straight from that point. In this particular case, that angle would be to the corner of the garage as opposed to the, I mean, realistic, well, I guess I want to get into the weeds there, but if it's a driveway to a vehicle entrance door, which you could make the argument that it's not always in a straight line, then you have some potential there.
I just wonder, where is the line for the 25 feet from the property line?
If their house is set at 30,
It is about right here at
Yep.
this edge of the sidewalk,
It'd be-
pedestrian sidewalk.
it'd be 5 feet in front of that house, and that's really not going to give them
5 feet in front
any
of the
width.
garage.
So it's a
yeah.
horizontal line
Yeah.
at 25 feet.
It would be curved parallel to the road.
So anything beyond that 25 feet is allowed to have
That's correct.
concrete. And
Yep.
anything outside of that is not allowed.
Right. And we're talking not just concrete, we're talking about concrete that's used for parking.
Yeah, used for parking, you're right. the
Right,
parking
and
structure.
so if their house is set back what I believe that it is, it's only gonna give them a 5-foot strip potentially there, which obviously is not wide enough for a car.
Right. So what are we allowed to vary from the ordinance? I mean, this is where I'm wondering, what are our options here? If with that 25-foot line there, what is the board allowed to do and still maintain consistency with the
That would be
ordinance?
probably a differently noticed variance where they're asking for a variance from the 25 and they'd rather have 20. Something along those lines, but we're already there with the way that's noticed as it is now. To make either a straight up variance for what he's requesting or to make a variance request or a modification of what he's trying to do, trying to give some relief based on the configuration, based on utilities, based on, I don't know, it not being recurrent.
So we're allowed to do that?
Absolutely, following the what you have in front of you, your questions, it's your interpretation on that.
Okay, good.
I mean, to me, this is part of the tension between our ordinances and we want good neighbors and good neighborhoods, and here they are improving, et cetera. We've had this before. And where's our balance and what do we want? What do
And
we
we've
allow?
talked before too about the relief valve, that the rules are the rules, they apply broadly over the city, but occasionally there's unique circumstances where the Board of Appeals might find that there is the need for a variance based on the questions. And then you have the authority to determine what's reasonable and what they need to reasonably use the property for an allowed use.
All right, I'm trying to formulate a motion here, and I'm struggling to see if whether it's an approval or not. I mean, if we're looking at an interpretation, that necessarily wouldn't actually even be an approval then. We're talking about an interpretation then.
Well, we could be looking at it as an interpretation or as a variance in this condition, in this situation,
Okay,
in this particular situation, because of the things I listed before.
all right.
That not your interpretation, your determination of the variance from what's specifically required as far as the door, location for where it's supposed to end, your interpretation in this situation and variance request modification would be from that, basically where that curb cut would normally, on a straight driveway, be adjacent to the sidewalk there, and where it would continue into the property to the corner of the house. Hopefully I didn't make that too confusing.
No, and the ordinance again is to the door, not to the or to the garage.
That's how it reads.
Yes.
Yeah, and we've made that interpretation over the years, that the driveway to the garage is not necessarily just to the door, but can be in front of the entire garage.
Okay. All right, well, I'm gonna make an attempt at a motion here, so bear with me. I'm gonna make a motion to approve the dimensional variance here with conditions that the approval be limited on the northwest side of the existing driveway from a straight line from the northwest corner of the garage structure to the northwest corner of the existing curb cut. And anything.
Would that be the northwest of the curb cut, or where the driveway, the end of the driveway? I know it's hard with this being at an angle and stuff. But I think you're trying to get to the point of where the curb cut would normally continue, where the flare has, I guess, away from the 3-foot flare. You got the 3-foot flare, and it flares into a single point, and from that point,
Well, I'm. It's all rolled curb there, so there's not even a curb cut. There isn't even a curb cut there, so I can't even give you that point. Never mind.
correct.
Yeah.
Where the road, the driveway
Yeah, for the
approach,
driveway.
how's that?
Yeah, to the driveway approach. Okay. So approve the variance for adding concrete on the northwest side of the driveway from a point on the northwest corner of the garage to a point, a straight line point from the northwest corner of the garage out to the flare at the sidewalk, on the private side of the sidewalk. Does that make it as clear as mud?
And it's about where this line is, right? This red
Yes.
line?
Yes. That is the limit that I'm making a motion to approve.
I can't,
Oh, we're not using document
no,
camera.
I
Okay.
can, but it's gonna take me, and then I gotta put it
Never
back.
Never mind.
It's
Technical-
approximately where
everybody's-
this red
Technical
line is.
difficulties.
Okay.
And we will be much more specific than that red line on that page.
And will someone from
And
the,
understand,
Point A to point B.
well, and I understand there was, probably still is, a walk up to the house. I'm not asking for that to be removed, or that obviously would stay, remain. It would be any extraneous concrete outside of that for parking. It would just be, the driveway itself would be restricted to the point from the northwest corner of the garage out to a point where the driveway meets the sidewalk. The driveway flare. Again, I'm trying to,
Right, flare of the approach.
Okay, flare of the approach meets the driveway.
And I don't know if
Meets the
this is.
sidewalk, excuse me.
I don't know, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I don't know if this is fair or not, but will someone from the city help
Yes.
go out and define
Absolutely.
that before?
Yes.
Yep.
And before we start busting up concrete and all that
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah.
Absolutely. And it would probably behoove them also to find out exactly where their property line is on the other side, because potentially if they could add 2 feet to that, then you've got additions on both sides. I don't know what that distance is, and I don't believe that transformer is on their property. I think it's on the adjacent property owner's property, but they,
Yeah.
So we have a motion, do we have support?
I would support that.
Okay, we have a motion and support. Dan, I think we need findings of fact.
I do believe there are unique circumstances and physical conditions with this property, such as the shape and existing utilities. I don't believe that the current property owner created the need for this variance because it's outside of their control because of the unique shape of the parcel. Because the utilities were there before the home was built. I believe that approving this will strict compliance with the no paving. This is a tricky one. This is where I stumble. Let me skip that. I'll come back to that one. I think this is the minimum necessary. I think this paving variance is the minimum necessary, and I don't believe there's another option that would provide similar relief. I don't think the requested variance will cause a negative impact on the neighbors.
You can go with the or section on that.
Yes. Approving this will, I believe that complying with the rules will be unnecessarily burdensome.
You're gonna hate me for it, but do you have a why on that?
No, I don't hate you. I would never hate you for that.
As hard as that was to get out. I
No,
don't
no,
wanna
it's
get anywhere.
it's totally fair. I appreciate that. I believe it's unnecessarily burdensome because of the angle of the house on the property with the cul-de-sac, with the existing utilities, with the angle of the driveway, with the orientation of the approach, the transformer box and the hydrant that cannot be moved. I mean, these things can't be moved. So I think this is, it's unnecessarily but burdensome to enforce it without this variance.
Perfect.
Okay, I think we're ready for a vote. Call for a vote, Mallory.
All right, the motion is to approve with the noted conditions. Sorick,
Yes.
Barr,
Yes.
Davis,
No.
Van Antwerp,
No.
Fusak.
Yes.
It does not pass 3-2.
Okay.
Okay, can our clerk please read the next item on the agenda?
If I could make could I make a comment to the property owner? Excuse me, sir. I think there's still an opportunity, excuse me, sir. I think there's still an opportunity to work with the city and try to maximize the amount of space that you can use to widen that driveway to the maximum allowable point. I think there still is the opportunity for you to do that, but I think that you should speak to them about that possibility.
Yes, please don't go home and destroy all that beautiful concrete. Talk to the city for next steps.
We good?
Okay, I think we're ready for the next item.
This is for 638 East 16th Street, application number 2311H. 638 East 16th Street LLC, on behalf of Take 5 Oil Change and 7 Brew Coffee, is requesting a variance to allow 2 new buildings to be connected to the same sewer lateral, where separate laterals are required by the ordinance. The Housing Board of Appeals can approve this request if certain conditions are found to exist.
Alrighty, please state your name and address.
James Victory. My office address is 2597 West Fountain Drive, Bloomington, Indiana, 47404. I'm the prime contractor for this project. What we've discovered here is on the west side of that property, north to south, there's just a convoluted spider web of all sorts of utilities. We've got gas lines, a couple of water mains running through. The most difficult thing that we're trying to overcome is there's a storm sewer on the west side, and directly below it, in too close proximity, quite frankly, is the sanitary sewer that we had initially planned to tie into. I'm sorry, did I say west? I meant east. I'm sorry.
Where you're trying to get to.
Yes.
I know where, I knew
Yes.
where your train was.
Yes.
It's okay.
Yeah, on the east side of the property.
It's east side of the property.
Yes. And through our due diligence, we have potholed that area where all the utilities are from all the way from 16th Street down to the bottom of the property line. There is no deviation in the correlation between the sanitary and the storm. It's really impossible to tie into it, and quite frankly, it's a private it's a private sanitary that has been there for a while. I guess it's been a source of issues for the public utility here. So we have, in talking with the utility inspector and the utility folks, they've said, there is an opportunity to tie these in together. We have that existing sanitary where initially the Take 5 was going to tie in is larger than it was for the old Boston market, and it's larger than would be required for both of these services. Take 5 oil change actually has less waste than a traditional home, even a single family home or a single bedroom home. And by the same token, the 7 brews is essentially a moderate or modest output. There's not a lot. There's not a lot of, especially solid waste, so we should more than be able to account for it.
Any questions from the board?
What's the alternate plans for installing 2 separate sewer lines?
If we were to install 2 separate sewer lines, we would actually have to intercept the sanitary main in 16th Street. We'd have to actually go out into 16th Street.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been advised that there's some future, development, repair, upgrades along 16th Street that are forthcoming, and we're going to carry both of these lines out into the right-of-way so that we can, and tie them in. That way they'll be available for tie-in without disruption as the utility goes forward and improves that area.
And that would be a condition of anything that we would approve here if we went forward with that.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
At this time, we'll open the public hearing for comment or concern specific to this application. See nobody here. We will close the public hearing, and the board will now deliberate. Before we get started, we have some correspondence from From who?
Board of Public Works?
BP, or,
Yes, we did receive a memo from the Board of Public Works. It's part of the application. Required as part of the application that the board supports the one sewer lateral for 2 buildings with the condition that it be separated when 16th Street is opened for work.
thank you.
My one comment is, I do appreciate that, yes, Take 5 oil change and 7 brew, currently, both of them would not have very much waste stream today, but as something I mentioned earlier, or, before, is that the city does look long-term. So these businesses, as they are planned for today, may not be producing much waste, but that doesn't mean that some business there in the future might be producing a large amount of waste. So it could become something that does produce a lot of waste. It could become a laundromat or something, who knows? Just, and it's for those reasons why we have these rules and requirements, so, if we're ready for a motion.
Yeah, if there's no other questions or comments amongst us, I'm looking for a motion and support.
I'll make a motion to approve the request with the condition that the sewer is separated, that they are kept separate for each individual business out to the northern property line or the southern right-of-way of 16th Street. At that point, then they can be joined and connected to the existing sewer lateral at the right-of-way of 16th Street. And then they must be separated when 16th Street is open for a reconstruction project that involves that could involve sanitary sewer work, or that the sewer services are separated when 16th Street is open for a reconstruction project that provides the opportunity for those sewer services to be separated.
I'll support that.
I think we're just looking for findings of fact.
I think the applicant explained the background and reasons for the request. The applicant explained the alternate plans for installing 2 separate sewer lines, and BPW explained with their staff report, and they came with a fair recommendation for a joint sewer service. So I think this is, you have good findings of fact there.
Thank you. Mallory, can we have a call for a vote, please?
Yes, the motion is to approve Sorick,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Barr,
Yes.
Van Antwerp,
Yes.
Fusak.
Yes.
Motion to approve passes.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
What's the opening date?
We're looking at about December 20. Really? Yes.
Oh, all right.
Yep.
So you're from Bloomington?
Bloomington, yeah.
I'm from Lick, you know, is that just
Yeah,
south?
certainly, yeah. Yeah.
South?
You
Go Hoosiers.
Good job.
you dropped something there.
Oh, thank you.
Yep. All righty, can our clerk please read the next item on the agenda?
There are no other items on the.
Oh, the approval of minutes is what I'm
Yes,
looking
yeah,
for.
that's-
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sounds good. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as stated.
I would second that.
Okay, we have a motion and approval. All those in support, please say yes.
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 Motion passes. If there's, let's see here. Next meeting date is Thursday, December 7, 2023.
Be aware that that is a combination of November. It's a combination of November and December, so it is not on the fourth Thursday. It is a date change compared to what we usually do.
Thank you. If there's no further orders of business, we're just looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support?
All right, motion and support. All those in support, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.